Araceli Cantu. I am the algebra teacher at Kennedy Middle School. Um, this is my 22nd year as a teacher, but I did barely come back to teaching algebra this is my third year. I had stopped doing algebra for maybe about 5 years. I was just concentrating in eighth grade, but they brought me back and I said, sure, why not? Um, when I came back to this, I mean, I was old school, used to paper and pencil, highlighters and stuff. But then I was introduced to this program called Edulastic. Um, I started using it the very first year, which was this is my third year teaching algebra. So about 2.5 years ago, I started using it, and I was not very familiar with it. But when I saw what it did for me and my students, then I, said, hey, I'm going to use it. I'm going to go for it and let's see what the results are. I just want to share that I did have 42 students in algebra the first year. Out of those 42 students, 40 of them got masters in the 80s and above in their STAR test, and two got high meets. So I had 100% passing. I was very happy. And I can tell you that all I did use was Edulastic. Okay. So again, we only have the demo because I don't have the real subscription for it. But this is what my screen looks like. If you notice, here are my classes, and it leaves the classes from the previous year because this is the one that I had the previous year. I want to say it was this one right here or this one of those. Anyway, so I started using it. So here, if you can see, this is my dashboard where you can see all my classes, right? Then we come over here and you see all my assignments, and it also lets you go back to all the assignments I have assigned in the past. So these are the assignments I've assigned, and I use this solely for quizzes. I use it for testing. Okay, once in a while I'll use it for independent practice or entry tickets, but mainly I use it for tests because it gives me a real fast feedback, and I'll show you that in a little bit. I do like this program, and if we were to buy it, this is the beauty of the stuff that we could get. I cannot see all of this stuff because I only have the promo version or the free version. But if you can see here, it'll give you the assessment summary, the subgroup performance, which this is what we need, the question analysis, the response frequency, performance by standards, which is what we need. Um, Performance by students. So all of these good things are there if we were to get the premium version, which we do not have. And here you can see the mastery report, standards report. And so all of this stuff is very similar to DMAC, which is what we target when we are um, doing our tutoring, our targeting group for tutoring, and to get them ready for the STAR test. Now, there is a library where you have item bank example questions. And if you look at all these questions, they are very, very similar to the STAR test. They're formatted to the STAR test. And now you can create your own. You can go to new and then you can create your own test. Now you can view the questions if you want to view them, and this is what they would look like. And then you would add it on there if you want to choose that to be one of the questions that you want. This is writing equations in standard form, and you do have an open-ended. So that's usually what they need. If I want to look at another question, this is also open-ended. And then here, they're talking about standard form. And so here you're able to see the TEAC. It comes from A1.6B. So you're able to see all of that good stuff, which is what we need. And again, these are just several examples of several questions that they're there. You can also create your own questions. If you have a PDF, you can also import that question in there and to make it, aligned to the TEACs. Now, the library also has several tests that are available for you to use. You can either open it up, you can preview it, and if you notice here, this is what the question looks like. And if you like it, you can go ahead and keep it, or you can edit it and you can make it your own. So this is what this looks like. This is only 16 questions. And again, you can make them however you want. If you notice, this is strictly aligned to the STAR test. And that's what I like about this. Um, I mean, all of this, they're exposed, the kids are exposed to all this. So I looked at it already, I liked it, so I'm gonna go ahead and clone it. And once I clone it, I'm able to assign it to my kids. And that's, or I can edit it and revise it. Um, Now to manage my class, these are the classes that I have. So I can always add, if I get a new student, I can always add a new student by clicking here, and it'll add, I'll add the student's name, or I can simply just sync it through Google Classroom. If you see it up here, you click it there, it syncs it, and the student automatically appears on your list. You can add a co-teacher, and from here I can assign the test. So I'm just briefly going to go over some of the assignments that I have given to my students. For example, I'm going to look at this one right here, slope from a table. And if you notice, I assigned it to these two classes and the one from a student that came in late after the fact. So this is what I see on my end. So I'm able to see their progress based on the questions that I created for them. So here I can see that this child, the first one, has number 2 partially wrong. This student right here, Eric, he was absent that day. So I'm going to go ahead and redirect him so he can redo the test by clicking here and hitting redirect. And I'm going to give them a deadline for the 16th of December. So he has until the 16th to do it. I redirect it. And if you notice, it changes to redirected. So now it says here that the first time he didn't attempt it because he was absent, but now he has a second attempt to try to do it. Now, if you notice this child right here, he attempted it, and I think for some reason, he got kicked out of it. So I redirected him. He redid it, and I'm able to see his progress. And he did really well. He got 15.67 out of 17 points. This was on November 23rd. It gives you everything here. It tells you how long the kid stayed in the question, and you're able to see his answers, so that if, for example, this one right here, number 5, he got it wrong. Well, then I look at it and I notice that he chose C. So then I can easily come back and ask him, okay, why did you pick C as your answer? And then I can try to explain to him that, that is the wrong answer, or maybe he just made a mistake on there. So that's the beauty about this program, that you're able to give them immediate feedback while they're taking the test. Now, let me go back over here. Let me come back to, okay. So I'm back over here. I'm going to exit from him, and I'm going to go back to the card view where I see everybody. And as they are testing, I'm able to see here, and I can, like I said, I can say, Shanoa, go ahead and fix number 1, 2, 3, 4, number 5. Or you have number 2 partially wrong, so go ahead and make corrections. So this is how I use this Edulastic on there. Now, I can get my standard base report by clicking here, and I'm able to see right here the question and the mastery level. So for example, question 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, and 14, it was a mastery of a 91%. And question 5, 9, and 10, I only had an 83% mastery. So here I can see all of this. And now I can easily come over here and say, you know what? Let's go ahead and let me show the students which is the questions that they're getting wrong. So when I present, let's see, Why isn't it presenting? Okay, there we go. So here I can see all the questions, how the kids are doing, and which is the question that they missed the most. So I noticed that here, question number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people got it wrong. Well, if I show it to the students, it's not going to show their name. It's going to show, okay, guys, you know what? Almost everybody's getting number 5 wrong. You can see it right here. So I can present this to the students. And if you notice right here, there's no way they can know who the student is that are getting them wrong, because we don't want the kids to make fun of each other saying, oh, well, you got it wrong. So it changes their names right here. All right. And I like that a lot, because the students can see, that what they're answering. And then right here, I can see everybody's response, and I can show them, look at what they're doing here. This person is putting decreasing. This one's putting increasing, and so forth. So they're able to see all of that. And they're able to look at all that. So then I reset it, go back, and then, what else? Okay, let me close this. Wait, sorry. So right here, whenever everybody's done with the assignment and I'm getting ready to close it, I go ahead and press close. And I have to go in capital letters. Hold on.
Oh no, I think you added a D at the end.
Oh, sorry. SE.
That's okay.
Okay, so once I close it, it's going to say, are you sure you want to close it? So then it's going to upload everybody's grade. So I'm going to say, yes, I'm done with it. So then I can come over here and I look at it again, which was this one, right? And it'll show done right here. If you notice, this one says in progress, because there's 1 or 2 children that haven't finished it, so it's still in progress. This is for my 8th grade math, because I also teach 8th grade math. So I use it for both my algebra and my 8th grade math. So this one is in progress, and these are already done. Now, once they are done, it automatically releases the scores, or I can ask it to release the scores. So for example, I can come over here and I'll be release scores right here, and release scores, students' responses and correct answers, release scores and students' responses. I always do this one right here, just so that, I can see everything there. I apply it, and it is successfully releasing the scores. And then I'm going to sync it to my Google Classroom. So I go to sync Google Classroom, and now the grades appear in my Google Classroom. Anybody have any questions?
I don't see that we have questions in the chat, but it is a lot of good data that you're able to see with the free version. And
Yes.
you're right, there's a lot of data in the premium version that I know that that could also help as well. And I know when you and I looking at it, it also helps students with uh different like it had speech to text and all that kind of stuff, right? There were accommodations that the premium also had on there too. But this is a really great tool, and I'm glad you're using it for assessment, because it's all Start 2.0 aligned.
Yes, it is. It is very identical to the New Start. I noticed that I logged on to the free premium version, and I was never able to get this. See how I can present it to the students, and they can see here that question number 1, almost everybody has it correct. There's only 4 people that have partial. Look at this one. Number 2, everybody's only 50% of the people are getting it correct. You see that? And if you notice right here, it doesn't show their name. And I didn't have that feature before. Before, it would just give me the students' names. Let me see. Reset. It would just give me the students' names. So I really don't like to project the students' names out there, because I don't want them to be like, oh, look, that one, has a low score, or, things like that, especially when they're tests or their quizzes. And then here it'll tell me, 26 out of 27 students have submitted it. So the average score is an 88. What else? Again, the yellow means that it's a partially wrong answer. maybe there's two answers in there, and I can click on it and I can look at it. And yes, if you notice here, let me move the picture. Okay, so if you notice here, it says it says use the data shown on the following table. So they give them a table and they have to find the rate of change. And here they have to find the rate of change for X and the rate of change for Y. So this person picked 4 and 5. So, I mean, 4 and 3, I'm sorry, and only the first one is correct, but the other one is wrong. So I'm able to see that they only got 0.67 points out of 2 points right there. So those are the ones that are partially wrong. Whenever it's yellow, I'm able to see who are the ones that are getting it wrong. And I can see it right here. I can see right here the students' names of all the ones that have partially wrong. So I can even look at it and say, okay, Omar, please correct it. Jesus, you have partially wrong. Please correct one of them. So I can tell them that during the, while they're testing. Um, and then if a student says, Miss, I have questions on number 8, well, then I say, okay, what's the student's name? Alondra. Okay, let me go to your number 8, Alondra. And then I'm able to see Alondra's number 8 right here. And of course, well, she has it right now, right? But if
Right.
she have questions, then I would, address to her, and I would reach out to her and say, okay, look, this is what you're doing wrong, and so forth. So I'm able to give them immediate feedback as they're taking the test, as they turn in the assignments. And I can, if I don't want to see the students' names, I can just go directly into the questions, and I can see that, for example, right here, question number 2, it'll tell me all of the people that are getting it wrong and all the people that are getting it right for question number 2. So I see that Gael right here has both answers wrong. Okay, for number 2. And if I want to go to number 10, I can go to number 10 right here, and then I can see all the people that are getting it wrong as well. So this is a great tool that I have been using. This is my 3rd year using it. Um, and I'm able to assign assignments at home, and I can look in there and see how long they took on it, when they log in, what time they logged in, how long are they taking in each questions. And in using this, and when Marco asked me if I can present this, I wanted to get some more feedback from the other teachers. So I went ahead and asked the rest of the math teachers in 6th grade, in 7th grade, and in 8th grade. And being department head, I have more access to ask them. So I went straight and said, hey, are we using Edulastic? Yes, we are. It is in our curriculum. I said, great. It is in our curriculum. We're able to use it, but only the free version. We cannot use the premium. And so all the math teachers are using it. I went further on and I asked the social studies teachers in 8th grade. They are also using it as well. And then I went ahead and asked the science teachers in 8th grade, are y'all using Edulastic? And, not knowing that I was going to present, not telling them that I was going to present, I went ahead and asked them, and everybody had but very good things to say. And their concern was like, if we had premium, we can do so much. And I said, I understand that. And that's perfectly the same way I feel. So again, I've been using it. Everybody in our campus, well, I'm not going to say everybody, not the RLA department. The RLA department is not using it, but for the most part, all the math department is using it. The 8th grade science teachers are using it, and the social studies 8th grade teachers are using it. And hello, we are in a campus. So, I mean, we have good results. So, um, anybody have any comments or questions?
I don't see any in the chat, and yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to showcase this. I know Miss Muddy Skull's in the crowd, and she's a huge advocate for this as well. She was actually the one that introduced it to me, so that was it's an amazing tool, and I'm glad we got to showcase it to some other teachers that may have not seen it or used it or knew it was in the curriculum. So thank you for sharing. I know you're kind of on the clock, Ms. Kantu, for your practice. So again, Adesali Kantu from Kennedy Middle School. Feel free to reach out to her if you have any questions regarding Edulastic. She's a pro, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you for inviting me.
yeah, no problem. Feel free to stick around or take off whenever you need. I know you got something to do, so I'll go ahead and get started with our next presenter. So we have another presenter here with us today. Um, he is from Liberty Middle School. He is also an Algebra 1 teacher. It is Mr. Sloss. He's going to go over a couple of programs with us. I know one of them is district purchased, so that one is going to be, I believe, Alex, right, Mr. Sloss? And then I know you had another tool or two that you were going to showcase for this secondary edition of Unmute and Recharge. So whenever you're ready, I think you can, Miss come through. I think Mr. Slosh, yeah, you could take over whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, and I'm going to be signing out.
Thank you, Ms. Kantu.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Jaime Sloss. I'm Algebra 1 and 8th grade math teacher also at Liberty Middle School. You can hear me and see my screen, Mr. Torres?
Yep, you're good, man.
All right, awesome. So I do use Alex, and I am going to show something else that I do use that is pretty fun for the kids self-check assignment. I'll start with that because that's going to be a little bit more brief, but I have found that these pixel arts are very entertaining for the kids, and they're a way for them to self-check. So if they put in the correct answer, of course, it turns green. If they put something in incorrectly or it's blanked, it stays red. So if I were to put the wrong answer right here, it would stay red and it would not populate the way it's supposed to. But once they put in the correct answer, it'll finish off the picture for them. So these are the pixel art images that I was explaining to Mr. Torres that I like to use because it's a quick self-check for the students. It lets them, populate a picture, and it keeps them pretty highly engaged. And it breaks it down also by level. So these questions are a little bit more difficult, and I try to use these for the different TEKS topics that we cover. And then we'll jump into Alex. So a little bit of background. I have taught at the high school. I taught at PSG Southwest from 2011 to 2017. And then I took a little break when my son was born. And then I came back. This is my third year back. The first year I came back, I was a remote conferencing teacher. So from being, stand up in the classroom and like Ms. Cantu had just said, paper, pencil, and then going virtual was like a big change for me, but I'm getting pretty much adapted to the new online technology. So I use Edulastic. I'm using Alex also now. Using it for homework assignments. I'm using it for students that are struggling, that don't have a very good math background. This is using AI technology to help students to keep them working, making sure that they are able to work without the teacher being present, because I know a lot of them struggle to come into tutoring that need help. So this is a tool that has helped with those students. So this is the way it's broken down. I have 25 students in my algebra class, and it's broken down by grade level. So when I go to the class, this one right here is going to be my 7th graders. So I'm going to pull up I'm trying to get this. Let me minimize this. One moment. Okay, here we go. So right here, it tells me information on the students about what they're learning, how their pie chart is filling by student. Here we go. One moment. And I'm not sure if everybody's using this or has used this, but you do access it through Clever, and then you go into McGraw-Hill, and then one moment. Okay, and then you go to McGraw-Hill, and then you click on the Alex program. Just wanted to make sure I showed you guys how to get into the program. And then here we go. So it's broken down by class. So I have an algebra with 7th and 8th grade students. So open this up. All right, here we go. And then it'll tell me all the information from the students, who's working on it, who's not working on it. And that's what I'm going to get into right now, because just like everything, you know, there's varying students. Some have been on this for a good amount of time, 25 hours, 15 hours, 18 hours. And it depends what I'm checking on. So I do like to tell them how many topics they've covered. There is 360 topics that are available to them through the algebra course, and it'll tell me how many topics they've covered and how many topics they're learning. So right here, when I'm looking at student Abraham, he's learned 21 topics this week, and he's on the last time he got in here was on December the 12th. And right underneath, you can see another student. Last time they did their knowledge check was 11th to 30th, November the 30th. And what the knowledge check is, it's a checkpoint for students to make sure what they're learning is being retained, because sometimes, you know, some students want to click through them and they might get the right answer, they might get the wrong answer, but the knowledge check will, excuse me. So they'll get knowledge checks throughout the course of their learning. So it's not just a one-time knowledge check and then you just go on learning. It checks them at periodic checkpoints to make sure that they're understanding what they're covering. One question that me and my colleague here on campus had was, can we use this at a prescriptive pace when we're trying to cover a topic and we notice students might be struggling with it? So we got the answer, and the answer is yes. So you can come into assignments, and then I just want to make sure I'm going over what I'm clicking here. So we go into assignments, we click new assignment, and we can scroll down and we can either make a test, a quiz, homework. So if I'm covering the I was talking about combining like terms on the pixel art image, right? And I see that the students are struggling with it. So I'll come back to the Alex and I'll go ahead and go down to view the textbook TOC, hit select, and then I'll come into here and go into models, module 1, I'm sorry. And then I can break this down into what is it that they're struggling with. And it'll break it down by subtopic. So I don't have to pick all of module 1. I can go into exactly what it is that they're struggling with. So once I click on it, it'll tell me I can start adding this to what I'm going to put on their homework, and depends how many questions or how many topics I want to cover. So I like to keep my homework between about 5 to 15 questions, nothing too much where they're going to feel overwhelmed. But I put these topics on there depending on what they're struggling with. And then the best part about it is what I'm going to show you right now. When we look at the preview, one moment. Here we go. Preview the assignment. You can see what the students are going to see. And the benefit of Alex is, if a student is completely stuck on this, is not making progress, they have the ability to get an explanation from Alex. So this is one thing that I was really blown away by, because sometimes students get stuck and they'll shut down. But instead of shutting down, what they can do is click on explanation. And uh, if they want to take a crack at it, they can put the difference of X and 4, and they may mess up and, you know, put the wrong answer. When they hit check, it'll let them know they try again, and they can try again. But if they get it wrong, I believe it's 3 times, then it'll go into the explanation. Or again, if they're stumped, they can click on the explanation and it'll ask them if they want the explanation, they're going to lose this question, but be asked in a different way. So here is the explanation for the question. So it explains to them the keywords, the symbols, and it breaks it down for the student. And then at the end, it gives them the answer so that it tells them what the answer was and why it's the answer. And this one's a little bit one of the easier topics, but even in solving systems of equations, I'm not sure if there's a particular topic that somebody's interested in on seeing the explanation for a question of that rigor, but this is the thing that really makes the difference for some students. Now, the students that really benefit from this are your high achieving, high ambition students. But it also gives the students that are struggling a chance to have the ALEX program, which is artificial intelligence, assist them through the questions that they may be struggling with. I also encourage students to come in for tutoring. And if they're working on ALEX or an assignment that was posted that day, and the explanation is not doing enough for them, then I'll go ahead and intervene and break it down for them. But the program can be used for homework. It can be used for quizzes. It can be used for tests, or it can be used as a introduction to the topic. I have a student that's already done 233 topics, and when you look at the topics that he has not finished, it's because those are topics that we have not covered in class. So he's about 46% of the way through them. Let me open this up again with the 8th grade. That way I can get into his pie chart and show you the breakdown of what we've covered. He's already gotten 100%, and then when on the topics that we have not covered, he's partially started, but it's taken him a little bit longer because he hasn't gone through the class of, here we go. Here we go. So he's actually has 277 topics, and I'm going to show you the progress on this student. So this is what I was breaking down. The quadratic equations is one of the topics that we haven't talked on. Quadratic functions, solving quadratic equations, exponential. But the stuff that we have covered, you can see that 97%, 98%, function sequences, 76% is stuff that he's already taken care of, because that is stuff that has been covered in class. So he feels comfortable to go through that pretty quickly. And then the stuff that has not been covered is the stuff that he is has the lower percentages on. So that's something that I would expect to see from a student that is high achieving, is the stuff that's not been covered is low percentages, but everything else that has been covered in class is already either completed or very close to being completed. I'm not sure if there's any questions.
No questions in the chat. I have one quick question.
Yes.
For the Alex questions, I know it's AI based. The question, they're the same kind of they use the same item types as Star 2.0?
So some are Star 2.0 because they're mostly open-ended questions, but
Okay.
the only thing that is I guess different from Edulastic is on Edulastic you can really self-create them, or I can upload my own questions. The questions that are coming through Alex are all generated by the program. And they are some STAR 2.0 questions because there are those open-ended questions or two-part questions that'll ask not only for the slope or not only for the y-intercept, but it'll ask what is the slope and then what is the y-intercept separately. So
Right.
there are 2.0 questions throughout the program. Yes.
Awesome. Hey, yeah, let us know in the chat if anybody has any questions. I don't see any yet. I want to say thank you, Mr. Sloss, for being here and showing us what Alex is, because this is something that all algebra and I believe geometry and it's a good amount of the math levels have. Not all math teachers have it, but I know a good amount do. I know that the other educator we have in here, Natha, she's an Alex. I guess she's also one of those kind of Alex pros in there too. So I know that we got a few users in here, and so kind of thanks for showing us what it's about. Thanks for showing us the power of it and how you can get so granular with the data. Let us know if you have any thoughts on the program, but seems like that's about it. Do you have anything else that you want to add, Mr. Sloss?
So I did do a little bit of research because this is my second year using Alex. Like I said before I came back from teaching, we were using Agile Mind and everything was like pretty much prescripted and we followed it. But so Alex is used also by colleges because it's getting them prepared for the SAT, and I know it covers multiple topics, not just math, but it does ask, like I said, some pretty rigorous questions. So the students, that struggle with math, I've gotten some feedback from them where, they're struggling, but it's because some of them don't have a really strong background in math, but they do say that the explanation helps them. So that's the benefit that, that Alex has as opposed to other programs that don't have that built in, and it tells them, this is the problem you were working on, and then it breaks it down for them to explain how to get to their answer, and then
Right.
they get another crack at the same topic but with a different question through it.
Right. And I honestly, I think that's my favorite feature that you showcased today because you're right. There's some things that Alex has that Edulastic doesn't have. There's some things that Edulastic has that Alex doesn't have. But if you use one or the other, you're well off. And if you use both, who knows, but I do really like that feature as far as getting it incorrect. Okay, we'll give you another shot. Here's the breakdown of how to do it. Okay, brand new question. Okay, go. So that is an awesome feature.
Yeah, so
Well, yeah,
I'll
go
I'll
for it.
just go I'll just go through one more topic, a little more rigorous because I know that one was a little bit brief explanation, but that way they can see the way when it's got to solve, either distributive property or um, solving like the systems of equations. It goes down into the explanation of it. Um, and that's why I was opening it up. I don't know if any of the people on here had a specific question of it, but that way, let's go to solving systems of equations. But yeah, it does a really good job
Yeah.
of explaining it. And for the students that, they just need a little bit of assistance, it is a great job of explaining it to solve it. So and then you can add as many questions as you like, as many topics. I try to keep it pretty similar so that they're not overwhelmed and all over the place. I mean, for testing, yes, but for homework, I want it to be very, very specific so that they're on the same topic. And then when it comes to test time, of course, we look at all the TEKs that they're going to be tested on. But so something like this, if I needed an explanation, solving a system of equations, and here's your 2.0 type questions where they have to graph the system, this is something that is 2.0 aligned. So again, you lose the question attempt, but that's fine. But then here's the system of equations, and then it breaks it down to the graphing. So it tells them about graphing the lines, how to graph the lines, why you're graphing the lines, It even gives them an X input. It gives them the XY coordinates when you have that input. It gives them the explanation of plugging in the values. So it does like a phenomenal job of explaining it for those of us that are a little bit more math inclined, and especially like the students, when they're in algebra, geometry, they are pretty much self-taught. I mean, of course, they're going to have some struggles, but this is for those types of students that can, take it a step further, and not just in the classroom, but outside of the classroom. So this is, something that is a great feature that I think everybody should have access to, and hopefully they keep us with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, thanks for showing us, Mr. Celeste. Yeah, and you're right. It can get as easy as that first problem or as complex as that last one. I would probably need that tool a lot because I'm a social studies person and I stayed away from math my whole life. Hey, sir, so if you want, so I think I'm gonna stop the recording and yes.